Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks lost their second extra innings game in a row to the Tampa Bay Rays, and we have all the reasons why they shouldn't have. We are starting in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. Well, we hate to hear that song. Welcome into another edition of the PHNX Dbacks podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX. I got my guy Kevin Thomas, aka Large Intimate, on the ones and twos tonight. And I know he's not feeling this game, and I know many of you aren't as well. Diamondbacks lose by a score of 7-4, like I said earlier, dropping their second extra innings game in a row to the Tampa Bay Rays, and probably shouldn't have with the way that this game was going for them at one point. Of course, welcome into you all. This show is brought to you by the Bet365 app and Game Time. Go use that app. Go download Bet365 right now. Use that code at PHNX365 when you sign up. Get yourself some bonus bets for betting just $5. Then on Game Time, use our code of PHNX, and you will get $20 off your first purchase. Welcome in, guys. Of course, Diamondbacks, like I said, lose. They drop to 14-11 on the year. And most importantly, the Diamondbacks bullpen, that was one of the most solid parts of this team early on in the season, is starting to unravel. And it's getting to the point where, due to injuries and overusage, it seems like they are very exposed and not being able to perform the way that we kind of have gotten used to them performing so far this season. This was the Diamondbacks' third extra innings game in their last four, so not a great time for the bullpen to be taxed in the way it is, and to also see Torey Lovullo making the maneuvers that he made tonight. We'll get to the pitching here shortly. Meanwhile, the offense on this side nibbled, but for the most part, they were able to kind of do some things early and give the Diamondbacks an early lead. They were up by 4-1, so there wasn't a lot of panic here. Corbin Carroll was 1 for 4 tonight. He had a run scored, an RBI. Josh Naylor 1 for 4. A lot of these guys just, I probably need to update that because I'm pretty sure that they were actually not that any longer. Corbin was 1 for 5. Josh Naylor 1 for 4. Alek Thomas 1 for 4 himself. So not a lot of hits tonight from the guys. In fact, the Diamondbacks were able to just muster up 6 hits on the evening, and all of those kind of happened there before Tim Tawa's home run, right? We had Diamondbacks getting ahead here against the Tampa Bay Rays. They had themselves a decent lead. Again, just kind of nibbling away. Tim Tawa hits a solo home run. That solo home run, by the way, is our Sanderson Ford deep drive of this game. And of course, that deep drive of the game did put the Diamondbacks up by 3 runs. You felt pretty much at that point fairly confident with the way Corbin Burnes was pitching in this game. Corbin Burnes had himself a nice outing, at least to start the game. It looked like he was going to give the Diamondbacks another quality start from their starting pitching staff. Unfortunately, that kind of unraveled, as did the offense. Tawa's home run, that went 385 feet. It was 101.1 miles per hour off the bat. That was his 4th home run of the season. So it's cool for Tawa to see him chipping in and giving that production. But unfortunately, the rest of the offense was very quiet tonight, and still struggling are the Diamondbacks. Pretty much 5 through 9 hitters or 5 through 7 hitters. I'm not even going to throw Alek Thomas and Tim Tawa into this, because Tim Tawa is now hitting 250 and Alek Thomas is hitting 277. I'm mostly talking about Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Gabriel Moreno, and Eugenio Suarez. Gino once again goes 1 for 4 tonight. Moreno 1 for 3, at least with a walk, and Lourdes Gurriel another 0 for 4 night. So still not getting a lot of production from those guys. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is now hitting 165 on the season, and Gino is hitting 159 on the season. From the point that Tim Tawa hit that home run, the Diamondbacks only got 1 more hit in this game. They went 0 for 13 with a walk in there. I think Pavin walked. But That was until the ninth inning, and that was from Tim Tawa's home run until the ninth inning. There were a lot of things about this team that didn't work tonight in the second half of this game. And our guy, Barry Bloom, tried to get Torrey to understand what bifurcated means, and that was a whole, 3-minute part of our scrum after the game. But it was a very, very bifurcated game. Barry was right, because the Diamondbacks, just everything looked to be going their way early on. Corbin Burnes was giving them the outing that you wanted to see out of him. The Diamondbacks were kind of cruising there, and instead, right there, basically, honestly, when Corbin Burnes' outing came to an end, things seemed to unravel for the Diamondbacks on both sides of the ball. Defensively, they were not great tonight. They had 3 errors tonight. They were just bad. And again, a lot of it was on the left side of the infield. Gino made an absolutely horrendous throw to first base that sailed over Pavin's head. And honestly, this team right now is not playing the sharp version of baseball that we're used to seeing. I do believe we have video of Torrey from after the game. And Torrey, do we have the video about Torrey talking about the defense?
We sure do.
Let's get on that. Here's Torrey talking about what's going on with their defense, which he doesn't seem to really know.
I agree. I don't know that answer. We have very capable defenders on this team. In certain cases, some throws, your body, your alignment, your momentum, you don't stop and throw over a firm front side. You get a little drifty and the ball takes off on you. You take for granted that you can use your hands instead of your hands and feet and picking up a ground ball and rely solely on just kind of like a stabbing feeling rather than rhythm and playing through the baseball. I think that's kind of what happened to the left side of our infield today. So those are reps, and that's trust, and that's going out there and playing the game full speed and playing it fearless. And they do under normal circumstances. I'll put our left side defensively up against anybody. So that's what makes it so frustrating. They're so good. They're not getting it done on the consistent basis that we've seen. So couple reasons, but I haven't really dug into it that deeply.
Now, of course, the one thing that this impacts, especially the defense, is extending innings, allowing, the opposing teams to get other shots. But I think you just see how it deflates the pitcher, right? It doesn't matter if it's starter or reliever out there. When you think you're going to get out of an inning and you're cruising and, these guys that are just normally reliable behind you make these kind of mistakes that they're making, it has a huge impact on the rest of the game. Right now, the Diamondbacks can't afford to have those mistakes because they can't afford to extend innings and they can't afford to have more relievers being used as they needed to do tonight and as they've had to do so far this week with these extra innings games. This is what Torrey had to say in regards to the impact that defensive errors have on the team's success.
Yeah. Oh, no. It all adds up. It all adds up. And our infielders are raised that way, and they understand that every little piece is important. So it changes the order. It changes who's coming up. It changes who's leading off, who's not leading off. Add pitches to the pitch total for the pitcher. Put stress on the pitcher. So all of it adds up, and they're aware of it. That's why I think they take so much pride in doing it well, because they know it's not just that one isolated moment. It's a trickle effect.
Steven Bananas in the chat says, blame Derek? Cactus Light? Blame Derek? Cactus Light? Oh, do you mean this Cactus Light right here? Do you ever want to see this Cactus Light again? Well, then you won't blame me for anything. And I was about to say the S word, and I don't mean sweep. But, of course, I'm not allowed to say those curse words anymore. Meanwhile, I bet Torrey wanted to say some curse words after tonight, especially after that, throw there by Gino. I think we all were pretty frustrated, especially seeing things slip away in this game like they did. But there also is the comparison, which Torrey was asked about, if the lack of offense from Gino is impacting his defense. And it was something similar to what Torrey had brought up maybe with Jake McCarthy, that, the lack of offense or his struggles at the plate were impacting other parts of his game. This is what Torrey had to say about the lack of offense impacting Gino.
I think he's a very positive guy. He's been through the ringer. He's been in the ring a long time. He's boxed it out and duked it out. So I think he separates it pretty good. And he's getting his knocks. I think he's working hard to have good results. And I think like I said, I think he's just kind of drifting through his throw. And he firms up that front side and that front shoulder as good as anybody and stops momentum, and then he throws through it. He's just kind of gliding and drifting through it. So it might be a little bit of a technical thing we need to work on.
There's a lot of people that want to blame Torey Lovullo for tonight's loss, and I am not going to stop you. What I will say is that you could tell the frustration here. You could tell that things just didn't go to his game plan. Obviously, Corbin Burnes not being able to reach that 6-inning mark, that felt like the start of things not going their way. Not to mention the fact that they had limited arms in the bullpen, and it really felt like Ryan Nelson was who they were going to ride through the majority of this outing, especially once Jalen Beeks left to injury. By the way, we'll have an update for you on Jalen Beeks and Corbin Burnes and everybody on the pitching staff on the other side of this break. But before we get out of here, we do have Torey here commenting on these pesky Rays and the Diamondbacks losing 2 out of 3 when they probably shouldn't have.
But when we do things like we did tonight, we put a lot of stress on ourselves, and we got to tighten a few things down. I'm not used to looking up there and seeing 3 errors in the error column. Those errors lead to extra pitches, more base runners, more run scoring potential. The quality of at bats I feel like are improving in a lot of areas, but I just want these guys to engage, understand that there's sacrifices to be made for the guy that's on deck, getting on base for him, potential to slug, put up crooked numbers, all those little things. We do it well, we do it right. We play great baseball, and when we don't, things linger, and you could just feel the vibe of this day at 4 runs. I was hoping it was going to be enough. It was shaping up that way, but I feel like there were some other opportunities for us to go out there and really press into this game offensively and break it open. We never could. We never did. The Rays are pesky, and they seemed to hit a little bit of a stride mid-game yesterday, and they walked out of here with 2 wins. It's not satisfying, and I don't think anybody in that room is satisfied either. We're all a little bit frustrated, so we got to digest it, get ready for a tough series starting tomorrow against the Braves.
And that's a Braves team that is fully rested because they had an off day today. The Diamondbacks, meanwhile, are coming off, like I said earlier, 3 out of 4 of their last games being extra innings games. A game yesterday where they absolutely taxed their bullpen, and a game today that did not go their way. And again, there's a lot of questioning of Torey Lovullo's usage of the bullpen, and we are going to get into that on the other side of this break. In the meantime, I'm going to think about stomping on this cactus light that's by my foot in case you guys don't behave yourselves. And don't go anywhere. We're watching the PHNX Diamondback show. I won't do anything to the light, I promise. Of course, Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the PHNX Diamondbacks podcast, and Game Time makes getting tickets easier and faster than ever. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch, or if you want to go see any other type of show, any other type of sporting event, Game Time has you covered with killer last-minute deals. They have all-in pricing, so again, you don't have to have any surprises on the fees at checkout, and you can see what the view from your seat is going to be. They also have the ability for you to save even more with zone deals where you can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose a seat for you. And they also offer the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Kevin, what time is it?
Game time.
It's game time. Oof. All right. And of course, if you're looking to sell your home, you need to look to the perfect team to do so. And Carol Royce and her team are the elite home sold guaranteed realty team. Basically, we met with Carol, and Carol gave us a greater understanding of the housing market. And that's what she can do for you. Carol has 3 decades of experience, and of course, she also has 3 generations of family on her team, and she will treat you like family. If you go there to sell your home, Carol will guide you through the process, and she will make sure that you get the maximum amount for your home that you can. Of course, she also has co-authored 2 best-selling books in regards to realty and has a weekly radio show where she covers our local real estate market. So nobody knows this real estate market like Carol Royce. If you're considering a cash offer, don't settle for one. You can get up to 6 of the best offers with at least one at 100% of market value, or Carol will pay you the difference. Call Carol Royce today at 480-776-5231 or visit Carol online at carolroyceteam.com and tell them the mayor of PHNX sent you. She'll know who it is. That's carolroyceteam.com. Terms and conditions apply. Well, there is a lot of debate on the interwebs, on the internets and the blogospheres. And those debates basically are, is Corbin Burnes good at baseball? Which seems kind of silly, because overall, when you look at an outing where a pitcher gives up 3 hits and 1 earned run, walks 3 and strikes out 8, it's hard to say that that's not a good night at the office. But Corbin Burnes just seemed to kind of suddenly fall off, and it didn't happen necessarily just in the 6th inning. It seemed like he started to fall off at the back end of the 5th inning, and then he couldn't make it through longer than getting 1 out there in the 6th. But he was dialed in against the Rays early. It was his best start as a Diamondback essentially early on, and then things suddenly kind of fell apart for him there. He really was relying on his cutter, and his cutter looked excellent. I think we have his pitch chart available. You can see his pitch usage in this game. Again, what you really start to see here, especially, is the usage of the curveball not falling in the strike zone and him throwing it a lot. The cutter, it seemed for the most part like he was throwing it exactly where he wanted to throw it. So it didn't really feel like there was much wrong there with the cutter. It just felt like after a while, it maybe he started to go to other pitches. I'm not exactly sure how things changed for him, but I mean, his usage there, he was using the cutter 40% of the time. He ended up getting 4 whiffs on the cutter, 5 whiffs on the curveball, and I think maybe that's why he was going to the curveball, setting the curveball up there with the cutter. Still, though, just one of those nights where things really looked good early on. I think he was at 50% cutter usage through his first 2 innings in this game, and that's really when he was finding success. Not sure if he lost the feel for the pitch or if it was just more of of changing the game plan and adapting throughout the outing. But again, things fell apart quickly for Corbin Burnes, and I think it fell apart so quickly for Burnes and Torey Lovullo that's why we suddenly saw this this turn in usage to Jalen Beeks. Jalen Beeks gets hit with a comebacker. He has to leave the game after an inning. Apparently, he wanted to stay in for even longer, even after getting hit. But again, it felt like it all started there with Corbin Burnes not being able to make it through 6. And again, this is a great outing, and we're not going to say it wasn't. But he did have 8 strikeouts tonight, and that let's throw up. Do we have our old friend, the strikeout tracker, the Circle K strikeout tracker? There we are. 8 strikeouts on the night for Corbin Burnes, and again, not a bad night at the office. Just couldn't give the Diamondbacks the length that they really needed. And then from there, you have Jalen Beeks come into the game. He gets hit by a comebacker on the right wrist. He is the Diamondbacks' only lefty in the bullpen. So quite frankly, we have to protect Jalen Beeks at all costs, people. I don't care if you have to put him in bubble wrap out there on the goddamn mound. This man can't get hurt. And they did have him go for imaging, which came back negative. I got a chance to speak to him after the game. We don't have video of that, but he did say he was fine. He said no breaks or nothing like that. He'll be fine. And he showed us a fairly nasty bruise there on his left arm. But yeah, man, I mean, as far as Jalen Beeks is concerned, he is extremely important to this team. Diamondbacks luckily have Ryan Nelson as a long reliever that they could turn to, and it felt like Torey Lovullo kind of crossed his fingers there and hoped that Ryan Nelson could get them throughout the rest of this game. And that's honestly what Nelly is capable of. The reason why Ryan Nelson was kept in the bullpen instead of being sent down to Reno was long relief. Honestly, Ryan Nelson came in on the 7th and looked strong in the 7th inning. He struck out 3 in the 8th. He strikes out 1 in the 7th. And he looked like he was going to go out there and be able to finish the game. He struck out 3 in the 8th with 1 reaching on that Gino Suarez ridiculous throwing error. But then he came back out for the 9th. And I think a lot of Diamondbacks fans, much like myself at that point, were like, what are we doing? Right? I understand how strong Ryan Nelson made it through that inning. And I think that is what influenced the decision to let him come out for the 9th inning, right? I don't think that this was necessarily 100% the game plan. However, no one was warming up in the bullpen, right? So it really didn't feel like there was a backup plan should things go south for Ryan Nelson, and they did, unfortunately, in that inning. He gave up 3 singles and 1 run to tie the game, and then he got 1 more out. He gets 2 outs in the 9th inning, and then he gets pulled for Shelby Miller. And quite frankly, that is the point that like I try to be more reasonable. I try to like see the thought process behind the actions. I cannot see the thought process behind this. I can't. I just can't. I mean, I guess the idea there is that, you know, at this point you wanted to go to extra innings, but you weren't going to bring Shelby Miller out for another up down. So you weren't going to have him start in the 10th inning. So you have Shelby Miller come out for a third of an inning. He gets the job done. He gets out of the inning, but at what cost? Now Shelby Miller is going to be down for the Braves, game 1 of the Braves series tomorrow. You're going to have Jalen Beeks down for an undetermined amount of time. It might not just be 1 game, might be more based on that injury to him. And you also used Ryan Nelson, not to mention the fact that you had the usage that you had in yesterday's loss in extra innings, right? So explain it to me. Because I don't know. And I can't really, this is one time that Salvatore Lavallo is on his own in regards to this, because I don't understand Ryan Nelson coming out when you had Shelby Miller available. And if you wanted to win this game, you put in your guy that has a 0.00 ERA, right? Or you turn to Justin Martinez, who quite frankly has been gone for a while with shoulder fatigue, but seems to be back. And I know he pitched yesterday, but is he not your closer? When does a closer close games and pitch in consecutive days? That's what a closer does, right? Like that's why you name a closer. Maybe this is the reason why Torey has been so hesitant to actually name a closer over the past 2 seasons. Maybe it's a lack of wanting to commit to one guy like this because he doesn't want to pitch relievers on consecutive days. But these are big boys. These are athletes. These are guys that are trained and ready to do this. And quite frankly, whoever is the closer should be able to close and pitch on consecutive days and should be able to get you out of a game. Not to mention the fact that if Shelby Miller was in the game plan at all to turn to in the 9th inning, why the hell didn't you just do it to start off the 9th inning? These are all, it's easy in hindsight to go back and question another person's decision like this. However, I'm having a hard time with this one. I really am. Because if you go out there, you let Ryan Nelson get through that 9th inning, you get the 2 outs, why not just let him finish the inning? Why not just bring either JP or Shelby out in the 10th? Why not either win or lose that game with Ryan Nelson there in the 9th rather than sacrifice 2 more arms that you are going to need against a fully rested Braves team? That, to me, is egregious. And there's no defense of it, I don't think. The only defense is that you thought you were going to ride Ryan Nelson through the end of the game. He gave up 3 singles. He gives up the tying hit, and you got scared at that point. Not scared enough to pull him immediately because you still let him go out there and get another out. But then you're going to play matchups at that point. Then you're going to burn Shelby Miller for game 1 of the Braves series. Doesn't make any sense. And honestly, yeah, Sean's right. Torey being cautious with J Marte is fine, but the decisions in the 9th sucked. And I'm with you on that because J Marte did just return, and nobody really wanted to see J Marte go out there and get shelled, knowing that he's not at 100%, nor did anybody want to see him possibly go out there and re-aggravate or have something else go wrong where the Diamondbacks lose him for an amount of time. But quite frankly, the Diamondbacks are playing scared. Torey's managing scared. Pitchers are pitching scared. The ones that aren't are the ones that are finding success. You know who's not scared? Shelby Miller ain't scared. That's a guy that's not scared. I'll tell you, I even think Corbin Burnes is pitching a little scared. I think a lot of these guys don't really have the confidence in themselves right now to go out there and feel like they can dominate the batters they're facing, right? Nor do I feel like Torey is confident in his decisions right now at this point. A lot of lack of confidence, and it's leading to a lot of these mistakes being made, these bad decisions being made. And in this case, you had to walk a real fine line with the bullpen usage that you've gone through this week and what you have coming up. You guys are talking about it in the chat, and you're 100% right. The schedule does not get any easier. April is a cakewalk compared to what May is, especially right here at the beginning of May, right? You take on the Mets twice. You have the Dodgers twice in the month. You have all sorts of good teams. And honestly, this Atlanta Braves team that you're getting ready to face, they're going through some stuff. They're fired up. They're trying to get things on their own back on track, but that is a dangerous Braves team that you can't take for granted. This was a pretty weak Rays team that the Diamondbacks should have easily taken 2 out of 3 against, if not swept the series. Instead, here we stand at their second series loss of the season, and both of those series, no offense to the Nationals either, no disrespect to them, but both of the series losses are not series that we thought they would lose, right? So, I'm sorry, the third one too, right? Because they lost to the Chicago Cubs. But that's a little bit more understandable, losing to the Cubs. This is not. This one's egregious, and it's hard not to say a lot of it's on Torey Lovullo. I think it was also kind of a lot to ask JP Fire Eisen to come out in the 10th inning, because this is the guy that just got called up. Came in on the 10th inning, gives up the RBI double, then he gives up a 2-run home run to Morel, and that game was just out of reach at that point. So I really don't know what to say other than, this was one of those games that was probably as frustrating for us to watch as fans as it was for Torey to manage. And I still will preach that players should be able to play. Players play. Players play. That's you're right. Players play, and they should be able to get the job done. So there are times where I do put the blame on the players and not on Torey, especially considering that when you see a guy go out there and essentially strike out the side, right? I know Ryan Nelson didn't do that actually in the 8th inning. There was one batter that reached on that egregious throwing error by Gino, but you see a guy come out there and you see him deal the way that Ryan Nelson dealt in the 8th inning, and it's hard not to go to the 9th inning, so it's like, while I'm sitting here questioning Torey on one hand, I will say that I didn't like it when it was happening, but that's only because I know that this team likes to hurt me and make me feel bad and make me sad. And I know you guys all feel that same way too about this team at times. So that's the real problem here, is that, you just felt like the way things were going, the way the Rays kept clawing back, the way the Diamondbacks couldn't get a goddamn hit in this game, that this was going to go the direction it went. And unfortunately, that's exactly the direction it went. B says, why the F are Rogers fans in here? They don't have anything better to do. That's all. They have nothing better to do. I welcome any Dodgers fans to be here, quite frankly, just because thanks for the numbers.
They're probably stuck in traffic.
Probably. They're
Nothing
definitely stuck in traffic. They're in a parking garage somewhere. Have you ever parked at Dodger Stadium? It's the worst. It is the worst. You guys might have a very good team, but you have a very bad parking situation over there. Well, on this game, we have to give our king snake out to somebody because I'm contractually obligated to do it. Quite frankly, I probably should have given it to nobody in this game, but I'm going to give it to Corbin Burnes because honestly, Corbin Burnes was good in this game. And again, you look at those numbers. I know he gave up 3 runs, but only one of them was earned. He allowed 3 hits, struck out 8, and went 5 1/3 innings pitched. This is not a bad night. And overall, I know his stats still don't look great. I know his stats still aren't an ace, stats, but I think Corbin Burnes is still giving this team a chance to win every time he goes out there and pitches. And today was no exception, right? The Diamondbacks offense is to blame for this one. The Diamondbacks bullpen is to blame for this one. And quite frankly, Torey is to blame for this one. But I don't put this loss on Corbin Burnes at all. And even with him having that mistake there, which by the way, we have a whole thing where Jack Summers and I strongly believe that if the pitcher gets an error and a run scores, how is that not an earned run for the pitcher? Make it make sense. I don't know how it can make sense, but it doesn't seem to make sense. And yeah, even though he had that mistake there fielding, I still feel like this is the best player on the field tonight for the Diamondbacks was Corbin Burnes.
Derek,
yeah.
Piece of Yoshi is saying that they will not stand for this. Tim Tawa hit a bomb, and that you're getting soft, and the chat is right. Even though the chat has been saying you have a heel turn right now.
What didn't I say? What?
You're saying that Corbin Burnes is King Snake, and Piece of Yoshi is saying that Tim Tawa hit a bomb, and that they will not stand for this.
Yeah, Tim Tawa was he still 1 for the night? 1 for 4? Yeah, I'm still not impressed by that. All right. It seemed like everybody was 1 for something tonight. Why am I supposed to be impressed by that? You know what? I probably, maybe we should switch it. I don't know. I just like saying Tawa Powa. Feel the power, because that makes me, I can do the Big E thing, and it makes me excited. But yeah, Tawa's stock going up. Meanwhile, I don't know. Jordan Montgomery, that's not a name I want to say. Jordan Lawler. Let's not get those two guys confused. He's still somebody people are clamoring for. And with the way that Gino continues to play over there at third base, I'm warming up to the idea more and more each day. Do we have some super chats in here, by the way?
We got a bunch of super chats.
What do we got?
Be calm, see clearly with a couple. They say, I'm 38, hot with this team. Be better.
Yeah, same BCSC. I'm very hot with this team.
And then BCSC says, just get it together. And where's my baby Noah?
Oh, yeah.
Noah's at Gila River for the draft party.
Yeah, Noah's being corrupted over there by the Cardinals boys. So Noah's his innocence is lost. Have you seen how Johnny Venerable is dressed at the draft? You think Noah is making out of there before 4:00 in the morning?
Did you see how Bo Brock was dressed?
Yeah, Bo Brock brought back the outfit from last year. I'm more impressed by Johnny Venerable copying my draft day for the PHNX Fantasy Football League fit. Me and Johnny, we'd be a dangerous tag team together. What else we got? We got Candace in the chat. What does she got? In the super chat, Candace, thank you so much for your super chat. She says, can you check if the Diamondbacks are laundering wins for other teams? This level of losing feels intentional. Yeah, you might not. Maybe they are. Maybe they should be investigated for fraud. I don't know. Benjamin Hunley, thank you for your super chat. He says, Torrey needs to let his starters go longer. If he's got a shorthanded bullpen, he pulled Erod and Burnes early in the last 2 days. That was actually a conversation, again, between me and Alex Weiner in the clubhouse. What happens if Gallen struggles tomorrow? You just let him struggle. Quite frankly, unless Gallen's pitch count gets over 100, you're staying out there, bud. 4 2/3 innings and you've given up 6 earned runs? You might give up 7 because we're not pulling you from the game. That's the way it's going to work. Even if they have to sacrifice a loss, a really bad loss in the first game to the Braves, it might be necessary in order for them to get this bullpen a break and to get them right. It's either that or, quite frankly, they're going to need. I've said quite frankly way too many times tonight. I'm on a roll with that. You gotta ding me next time I say quite frankly. You can do it right now. I probably deserve it. Yeah, maybe a glockenspiel next time. But what we might see is a roster move just to bring in a fresh arm for this pen, because I don't know what the Diamondbacks are going to do. They're going to have guys that want to pitch. They're going to have guys that say they're ready. Drey Jameson never says no to pitching. He'll pitch on no days rest after pitching 17 days in a row. So that's how that ends up working out for him. But I do think that they very much need to figure out a way to at least get this bullpen some recovery time in game 1 so that they can be of use in games 2 and game 3. And then, I believe they have an off day on Monday. And after that, the schedule gets very, very, very difficult from that point on. So I don't know what they're going to do, honestly, other than hopefully the Braves are still bad. That's all we can hope, is that the Braves stay bad for one more series. But yeah, then the Diamondbacks have an off day on Monday before traveling to New York to face off with the Mets, who have been very, very, very good at home this season. Then they have 3 games with the Phillies. Then they come back here with no days off. So they play Phillies through Sunday, May 4th. Then they come back here to play the Mets again, May 5th through the 7th. Then they have the Dodgers, May 8th through the 10th, or through the 11th, a 4-game set with the Dodgers, then a 3-game set with the Giants, and then 3 games with the Rockies, 3 more with the Dodgers, 3 with the Cardinals, and then they end up the season with 3 at the Pirates and 3 at the Nationals. So there's some, I guess you could say there's some easier teams on the horizon at the end of the month, but before they get there, they have to play the Mets twice, they have to play the Dodgers twice, they play the Giants. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. All right, what else we got? Steven Bananas says Cactus Light or LG3 gets it. I can turn heel 2. Don't threaten. You don't ever threaten LG3. How dare you? That is my son. Brandon Chips, thank you for your super chat. He says, on the bright side, Derek and Jesse duo tomorrow. You're absolutely right. Jesse will be here as the baby face of this program, and he will definitely be here to shed some analytical light on what is going wrong with this team. Hopefully, when we are here together tomorrow, we are discussing a win instead of another loss. But I know both of us are sick of covering post-game shows after an extra innings loss. Tonight's, though, felt especially painful. Maybe it's because it's 2 in a row. Maybe it's because this one felt avoidable. But this one definitely stings more than last night. I will say we will take a look at the numbers from this series on the other side of this break, even though most of you probably don't want to do that because things aren't great for the Diamondbacks here, even though things look great with the numbers. We'll do that on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, I mentioned Gila River Resorts and Casinos. That's where our crew was tonight, putting on an amazing NFL draft party. For those of you that got to go out there and check it out, I hope you had a wonderful time. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, don't worry. We will be doing more events in the future out there, including a watch party with us for an away game for the Diamondbacks. We're also going to have all sorts of fun in general out there, and you should go out and check out all that Gila River Resorts and Casinos has to offer. If you are looking for a place for a staycation, which is sometimes maybe the best way to vacation, look no further than Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You can get all the fun I got by getting out of town to Vegas right here in town with a wonderful stay at their any of their locations: Wild Horse Pass, Lone Butte, Vikiva, and Santan Mountain. And you can experience the best the Valley has to offer. Head to Gila River Resorts and Casinos and let them show you what the next level is all about. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playathila.com for more details. And again, shout out to the PHNX Cardinals crew for the amazing job they did out there tonight. Very, 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 very good work from those fine gentlemen. So great job by the whole crew. Of course, also, with the summer being here, with the heat being back, All Pro Shade Concepts is where you need to go for you to extend your outdoor living area. Let them help you extend that outdoor living space with hundreds of designs and colors to choose from with a custom fit awning. They can work with your HOA for approvals. They can have motorized awnings that retract with the remote control, all with LED lighting to light up your patio under the awning. It's beautiful. It's cool. You'll enjoy your outdoor space even more. And most importantly, you'll stay cool. You can also stay cool with roll down patio shades that block the sun and keep your patio up to 20 degrees cooler. All of this can be done by All Pro Shade Concepts. Make sure to check out Espo's account on Instagram because he got new roll down shades and they are incredible. I don't even have a sun problem as bad as him, and I just want them because they're so cool. So again, they've been in business for 20 years. Go check them out. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. You can call them at 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com right now to schedule your free estimate. All right. Well, we're talking now about sushi and in the chat. You guys were talking about pizza earlier. And I just continue to get hungrier and hungrier while I sit here in front of these hot studio lights and melt away. But
I didn't know we had so many sushi haters in the chat.
That's a wild thing. Okay, there's a difference between like sashimi and sushi, right? And like you don't have to eat raw fish when you're eating sushi, right? You can eat fried shrimp. It's great. You can have all sorts of things. I recommend eel because I enjoy that quite a bit. I also enjoy that eel sauce on top. But yeah, no, there's lots of ways to try, especially if the big problem you have with sushi is the raw fish portion of it. What are your thoughts, Kevin, on sushi?
I absolutely love sushi.
Do you love it all? Do you love the raw stuff, sashimi? Do you love when they slice a little bit
I
of
actually
hunk off?
I prefer the raw because the fried tempura stuff really isn't my vibe. So actually, I prefer like the raw sushi.
Okay, so to each their own.
Sashimi's fine. I prefer rolls though.
Yeah, rolls are the way to go. Rolls are definitely the way to go. Who doesn't love rice and sauce and yumminess? Like, come on, sushi. It's sushi. Well, now I'm hungry. I'm hungry again. I'm sad. I'm sad and I'm hungry. This isn't a great place to be. But let's take a look at the numbers from this series. Thanks to our friends from Desert Financial. Let's take a look at the numbers. This is the series numbers. Both teams scored 15 runs in the series. Make it make sense, I guess. Diamondbacks hit 5 home runs to the Rays 2. They had 1 yesterday, 1 today, and 0 in game 1. This was wild for me. The Rays were 12 for 38 with runners in scoring position. They gave themselves an incredible opportunity there. And I mean, these numbers for runners in scoring position are bad for both teams, but my God, the amount of opportunities the Rays had to the Diamondbacks in this series is incredible. 5 for 28 in this series for the Diamondbacks. They were 1 for 14 yesterday. 1 for 14 yesterday. Half of those runners in scoring position were from yesterday alone. They were 1 for 14. It's gross. Let's take a look. I don't want to look at these numbers anymore. Let's throw them back up there, though, because they make me sad. Starting pitching ERA, pretty good in the series, right? 3.0. You get 6 innings in game 1, 6 2/3 in game 2, 5 1/3 here today. And then a total of 6 earned runs by the Diamondbacks starting pitching staff. Meanwhile, the Rays, 5.29, not as good. Both bullpens right around the same. Rays had a 3.27 ERA, and then you got the Diamondbacks at 3.75. So I don't know, man. This one felt. I think that's the reason why we sit here tonight with this bad taste in our mouth. This one definitely felt like it had no business being a loss, but it is. Who asks, what's SERA? And it's starting ERA and relief ERA. That's what those were. So the bullpen's ERA and the starting pitcher's ERA. Let's take a look, and this one will delight all the Dodgers fans in the chat. Let's take a look at the NL West update. Kevin, we got that. Diamondbacks remain in 4th place, and the rest of the division remains extremely good. Padres sit at 17-8. Giants sit at 17-9 in 2nd place. Your crappy Dodgers that you guys are all here to ha-ha about are in 3rd place at 16-9. And the Diamondbacks sit at 14-11. So, yeah. And then there's the Rockies, which, I mean, you got to admit, it's kind of awesome that their record is 420. Because it's the Rockies, right? We still remember the days when Colorado was the first state to legalize it. Nah, that's just a funny throwback joke for us. Yeah, but overall, this has been, like I said, one of those series you really want to forget. Unfortunately, with the way last year went, this is one of those series that we might remember entirely too well. Let's not forget that the Diamondbacks had a lot of games, a lot of series last year that you had a hard time forgetting because of the way the Diamondbacks lost them. The Braves last year is still a series. I think of the Braves series from last year, early in 2024, more than I even think of that goddamn Brewers game at the end of the year. Because that Braves series, if you don't remember, the Diamondbacks got swept, and they had a lead in every single game. That was back when the old bullpen couldn't do much to hold a lead. But now, this year, the Diamondbacks have had much better luck, and unfortunately, this series that felt like it should have been written off as a win, should have been one in the win column, goes the other way. So don't exactly know how the Diamondbacks, bounce back in game 1 of the series against the Braves. Hopefully they can. Maybe this is a situation where they kind of galvanize and bond over this and go in there looking to maybe be scrappy underdogs. Derek Piece of Yoshi said we did not have a lead in every single game. It just felt like it. In that series against the Braves, I'm pretty sure we did. Don't make me go back and look it up. I don't argue with you often, but I'm pretty sure they did. I'm pretty sure they did, and they went ahead and got swept. But that's why I remember it, right? There's just series like this. This series against the Tampa Bay Rays is a series that we're probably going to remember, and especially if things don't go the Diamondbacks' way, we'll really remember. But right now, based on their current winning percentage, our guy Jack Summers has them projected at still winning 91 games. And he is going to hate that I said that on him because we were teasing him about that all night. Jack doesn't really believe they're going to win 91 games, but based on their current winning percentage, they are set to win 91 games this season. Let's see if they do it. Who knows? But
Derek,
of course,
don't make me pull up our predictions.
Oh, I don't want. Please don't do that. Please, I don't. It's too early in the season for us to pull up our predictions. It's probably too early in the season for us to pull up divisional standings. In fact, Tori today was asked about the divisional standings and if he actually pays any attention to them, and he didn't. He doesn't. He says he looks at the record that teams have. He looks to see who won and lost, but he doesn't necessarily pay attention to that stuff, which I can understand how that would very much drive you insane. But we have more from Torey Lovullo on the pitching performances here before we move on. Here's Torey Lovullo on Burnes' outing tonight and what went wrong in his opinion with the bullpen.
Overall, I thought Corbin was real good. I know the play, we were just talking about was the comebacker to him, ended up being a big out that we didn't collect. I understand it, but I thought Corbin did enough to win this game. He made pitches. I think he had 8 or 9 strikeouts. We had 16 as a team, and I love that. But we just came up a little bit short. We had several pitchers down in the bullpen where we were piecing together the best we could with the pieces that we did have. And Nelly, I thought, threw the ball really, really good and deserved that chance to go out there and close it out. But we just couldn't get that final piece of the puzzle to close it out to win the baseball game.
Yep. Well, I mean, and that's not a wrong thought. But Corbin Burnes overall, you know what I mean? He's
Derek, they're doxing us in the chat.
Why are we doing? Why are you? What are you? Are you doxing us?
They're trying to order us pizza, to be quite honest.
Oh, well, if that's the case, then I will give them the address myself. I'll personally. They
asked what toppings we want.
I will dox us is what will happen.
What toppings do we want, Derek?
I mean, shoot. Well, Torey has more on his management of the arms in the bullpen tonight, including using Shelby, his usage of Ryan, and looking ahead at that series with the Braves. This is what Torey had to say.
Not to use Shelby tonight. I was trying to preserve him for tomorrow. I thought, once we got up Shelby and got him into a game, we knew that he was probably going to be down tomorrow, that type of thing. So you got to win today, but I have to have a little bit of an eye on tomorrow. You can't totally go all in on everything. Shelby's been getting after it, and he's been throwing the ball really well. So, yeah, I felt like with Nelly throwing the ball the way he did, and he came pretty close. I thought he was pretty dominant for 2 1/3 or whatever it was, 2 2/3.
You asked an excellent question just now, Kevin. What was the question you just asked?
Yeah, I told Derek, I was like, I'm not the biggest baseball guy. Like, I'm not, necessarily Derek or Jesse or Jack Summers or anybody else that covers the team. But if a pitcher just throws a third of an inning, why can't they go the next day?
It's not that they can't. It's really not that they can't. It is the manager's discretion on and the staff, his pitching coach, how Brian Kaplan feels, how the player themselves feel, and how Torey feels about it. But relief pitchers can pitch multiple days in a row. It's just typically not more than 3, right? You usually don't want them to go more than 2 typically, but 3 would be maximum, and that would more be probably later in the season when games have more meaning, right, than here early in the season. Maybe here early in the season, it's about getting them into that rhythm and building up those innings so that their arms can go multiple days in a row. But, again, this might just be Torey being too cautious. Really, at the end of the day, it might be the pitching staff, pitching coach. We know that, Brian Kaplan is big on the biomechanics, right? Or biometrics, biomechanic. I don't even know what he's a bio guy, science guy, smart, big brained, you know what I mean? And he might feel like that this is the best way to preserve these guys for the season, and Torey's management of a baseball team has always been about managing it for a marathon, for the course of 162 games. No sprint, nothing like that. This is the big picture, which is getting these guys from day 1 to day 162 healthy, which isn't going to happen, but it's like, how many of these guys can we get from here to here without them experiencing an injury or experiencing, more importantly, significant time off due to an injury? So that's right now what they're dealing with, and that's what Torey faces with this bullpen. It doesn't mean that guys can't pitch, and I'm sure we are going to see some guys pitch that have probably pitched recently just based on necessity, right? But it's not going to be Jalen Beeks most likely, because Jalen Beeks just got hit pretty hard in his left arm, which is his pitching arm, with a ball tonight. I got to see the bruise. It was nasty. Here's what Torey had to say about Jalen.
He's doing good. He's got a left forearm contusion. So it hit a spot, I don't know exactly where it was, but by the time I got out there, it was already swelling. So I was the one that made the decision. He was trying to grind it out. The trainer was asking some questions, and I just said, I looked at it and almost threw up. And I don't like the side of that. I'm like, that's enough for me. Let's get him out of here and get him examined.
Oh, you're right. Beeks isn't dog, because Beeks was ready to pitch with something on his forearm that almost made Torey throw up. So that man is a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. Of course, another guy who's also all of those things is J Mart. Here's Torey explaining why they didn't go to J Mart tonight.
6 days down, and then full throttle on back-to-back nights. Just it wasn't fair to him, and given the fatigue factor that he's been feeling. He'll be ready tomorrow, and it just was a little bit of a tough pill to swallow, right? You wish your guy that you know is very dependable on the very back end was available in a one-run game, but that just wasn't the case tonight.
And there it is. He's going to be available tomorrow, so there is one arm at least that Torey will have in his bullpen. It'll be interesting to see if he gets there, if he can use them. It'll also be interesting to see which version of Zach Gallen shows up. We do have our pitching graphic or our pitching probables here for the upcoming series with the Braves. Zach Gallen in Game 1, Merrill Kelly in Game 2, Brandon Pfaadt in Game 3. This is exactly who you would want to see in any series, and you would expect these guys to give you a chance to win. Gallen, meanwhile, is going up against Chris Sale in his 6.17 ERA. He has not been very good this season. Merrill Kelly going up against Holmes.
The guy from Eastbound to Down. Oh.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's not. No, that's not Kenny Powers.
My bad.
I know. It looks a lot like Kenny Powers, but it's not Kenny Powers. And then Schwellenbach, which is a fun name to say there, in Game 3 going up against Pfaadt. And Brandon Pfaadt, obviously, is a guy that brings you a tremendous amount of hope that he's going to be good in that game. And then you also have Merrill Kelly. Like, you feel pretty good about this being the series that you don't have a strong bullpen presence. You feel like Brandon Pfaadt so far has been able to give you 6 innings strong almost every single outing that he's gone out there and pitched. Merrill Kelly, outside of that one bad start versus the Yankees, is still the mainstay. So those two guys I feel like are going to give you, more here in this series, and probably dig a little deeper, maybe give you a little bit more. Hopefully that's the case, because that's exactly what Torey and this bullpen needs. But what you need, by the way, so go grab yourself the Die Hard membership right now. This $36 sale is not going to be around much longer. It was our NFL Draft Day live sale, so I mean that kind of says that there's an expiration on it soon, I guess. But you should get in on it now. It's the best deal we've ever had on becoming a Die Hard, and why wouldn't you? Join us. I'll make a big deal. We'll hit the glockenspiel for you if you say you signed up on the show, and you will get yourself a shirt. You will get yourself a Die Hard membership. You'll get yourself a brand new family. You'll get yourself a Discord chat that the notifications never, ever, ever stop on. And most importantly, you get to be part of this community that we're building here at PHNX. So, of course, it would be great to have you guys sign up. And I think we need 2 more signups for me to officially be given back my mayoral sash. So get on that, because I need my sash back. We did have some updates here before we get out of here. How much time we got left here, Kev? Not a lot of time. Torey Lovullo gave us an update today on Ketel Marte. According to Torey Lovullo, Ketel has been completely on track with everything, but the temptation is there to rush him being back. And they are not going to fall to that temptation, no matter how much their offense is struggling. Here's Torey talking about Ketel and when we can expect him back.
Ketel is doing a really good job. So everything's progressing well. The temptation is, because he feels so well and things are going good, the temptation is to say he's ready to go, and then he goes to get a little extra and goes full tilt, and then we take a step back. So that's what we're battling right now, and that's the space that we're in. He's one of the best players in the National League, so I want him back as soon as possible, but we've certainly held down things rather nicely with the Perdomo Tawa. Perdomo hitting second, Tawa playing second. I haven't forgotten about Ketel. I don't want to make it sound that way at all, but it's nice to see these guys contributing in the way that they can. But when Ketel gets back here, we're going to need him badly. Knowing Ketel, I don't think it's going to be 2 weeks from now.
So that's good news. Torey Lovullo says it's not going to be 2 weeks from now. It sounds like the team is expecting Ketel to be back probably around Game 1 of that series with the New York Mets. So hopefully that is the case. That would fall in the timeline that they originally gave us, where they said Ketel would be back before the end of the month or shortly after. So that would fall into the shortly after category. But we did have some good news in regards to the Diamondbacks minor league system. One of their top prospects did something pretty cool today. Not sure if you guys heard about it. Daniel Eagen, the Diamondbacks number 16 overall prospect, threw one of those things known as an immaculate inning. For those of you that don't know what an immaculate inning is, Eagen threw 9 pitches for 3 strikeouts to basically perfection. It's been done a couple of times in baseball, a couple of times in this franchise, but it was still an exciting thing for the young man in high A. He's with the Hillsborough Hops to achieve. They posted a pretty cool video of him walking off the field, and my man is pumped.
Let's go, baby.
Woo! That pumps me. Where is the ball? That was the most important question in that entire sequence and series of events. Where is the goddamn ball? Put that thing in a case, get an authenticator over there to put the little sticker on it, and that thing's history. That thing's going on his mantle. But I mean, it's kind of wild, right? I mean, this is throwing against the Tri-City Dust Devils, right, in high A. It's not like this is even winning the game or going out there and throwing a perfect game, right? But my God, this just goes to show how difficult pitching really is, right? Like, you probably shouldn't even do this, Kevin. Like, you might get a pitching coach actually being angry at you for this because you went out there and you get ahead 0-2 in the count. You probably shouldn't have any business throwing anywhere near the zone. But Daniel Eagen, that man had no fear and he went for it. Actually, if you watch those series of pitches, which I strongly suggest you do, it's a very fun inning of baseball to watch, and it goes very quickly. But yeah, I think he was even throwing outside of the zone and some breaking stuff low in the zone, and guys were swinging at it, whatever. You're going to get some bad batters at single or high A for sure. But very, very cool for Daniel Eagen for sure. And again, he's a Diamondbacks number 16 overall prospect in the system. When you start talking about the future and looking down the road, it's fun to get excited about guys like this. There's a lot of guys in the system. However, one thing to consider here is that the Diamondbacks, especially if they have to tap into the minor league system for another arm here for the bullpen, which I'm not sure if they're going to do that or not, but it feels like if there was a time, now would be the time to do so. Things are depleting quickly, right? You're looking at their top prospects. A lot of them are guys like Daniel, who are considerably farther off as far as guys that they might call or look to eventually for come up to the big league club. So the Diamondbacks have to do a good job right now of managing their roster, and here we are, not even in the month of May. And again, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again, this is already becoming a problem for the Diamondbacks as far as injuries are concerned. This was a team that before the season started, that was one of their biggest assets and strengths. There you go. I said it right that time. It really has dwindled away quickly. It just goes to show you can't really ever give a baseball team enough depth. You just can't. So, I'll tell you this much. I appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. I think we got a couple of super chats before we get out of here. What do we got, Kevin? Oh, they're all from BCSC. How many players am I going to have to court or ask out on dates from his super chats? Says, if Ketel needs healing, you see the healing I do. Yes, we do, BCSC. He says, oh my God, we have to bring back Mantiply. No, we don't. No, we do not. Things aren't that bad yet. And then he says, if Gallon shoves, I'm going to eat his cake. Is it cake?
Yeah, like a red velvet cake. Yeah.
I get the double entendre with cake.
I meant
with
red velvet. There's also chocolate cake. There's vanilla cake. Key lime pie. They have like key lime cakes.
You're not making this any easier on me at all, Kevin. But I appreciate you guys, mostly because you are the best Diamondbacks fans that exist. You're here at, what time is it? 11:53 p.m. after a loss. You guys all deserve your wings to heaven, that's for sure. So we appreciate you so much for your time. You can follow us on Twitter. I am at Cap_Caveman with a K. Kev is at KevOPost. Our show is at PHNX_Dbacks. But of course, as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys for your time. I know that your time is valuable, as I've said before. Your time is your most valuable commodity. We appreciate you giving us any portion of it, even if it's just a little bit as a Dodger fan to come here and troll us. We appreciate you guys too. I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. We will be back tomorrow with our very first installment of Friedman Friday. And I'm pumped for that. I hope you guys are too. Of course, make sure to join us for that. Also, make sure to check out Jesse where he's at over at Snakes Territory with our guy, Jack Summers. They do some great work over there as well. I think Jack has to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to record with Jesse tomorrow. And I laughed a lot about that. But anyway, excited to come back here for another post-game show tomorrow night. Hope to see you guys here again. Until then, have a wonderful evening. Make sure you behave yourselves. Send that pizza to the right suite. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when your bullpen and your manager don't absolutely implode.
We all silly like the mayor.